I'm back again. I have been asked another question from one of my lovely long-time VIPs, and I thought again, instead of just answering her directly, I would film a video so that we can all benefit from this question, because it is something that's quite topical at the moment, and something that probably a lot of us are wondering about. So the question I've been asked is about bone broth and the benefits of bone broth, and in particular, can it help with digestive issues, immunity, healing, so on and so forth. So before I answer that, I want to preempt this by saying that I am not a person who follows fads or fashions with health, with fitness, with clothes, life. I'm just not a follower. I'm not a follower. I'm not interested in following the crowd and being part of the crowd and doing the latest, in thing. So the thing is that recently, in the past few months, bone broth has become a part of my life, and it's not because it's a fad or it's in fashion at the moment out there in health world. It's actually because I was guided along from my body. I got a curiosity about broth. Number one kind of thing that backed up that curiosity was, well, back in the day, this was something that people did a lot of. My nan, for example, when we were using stocks in recipes, we had homemade stocks. We didn't get it from a cube or out of a packet. So one of my number one curiosities and interests about doing broth was the fact that I would have my own stock on hand that, I could have to use in all my other cooking and recipes and so on and so forth. The other thing about it is, if you think about chicken soup for the soul, we have chicken soup when we're ill. There is a wisdom to chicken soup for when we're ill, that being that in the broth or the stock that is produced from boiling up chicken and chicken bones and so on and so forth has a whole cascade of different components that actually help us heal. So it helps boost our immune system, helps in decreasing inflammation, helps the gut heal as well. So there's an ancient wisdom here. So I was more curious from my own guidance. I got led, my ears pricked up around bone broth. I was interested in it. So it was something I wanted to try. An opportunity came up a number of months ago. I embarked upon a certain health regime, and having broth in that was part of the process. So I got the opportunity to try out this broth, and I have to say I loved it. My body loved it. My soul loved it. It felt good. I just guess my body said yes when I had it. So ever since, it's become a fortnightly ritual to make bone broth, and consequently I do always have some in the fridge, which means that pretty much every day I use it in my cooking. I use it to saute vegetables, to boil up or cook up some mince, to saute or grill whatever, some chicken thighs, chicken breast, poach, all those sorts of things. So I use it daily, and I absolutely love it, and it feels so good knowing that I've actually created it from scratch. So some of the benefits that you can expect from bone broth if you decide to do it yourself. Personally, I've been using beef bones. I go to my local butcher who does organic grass-fed beef. I get beef neck bones, which are nice and meaty, nice and chunky. I put them in a big, I think it's about a 16-litre pot, actually. I think it is. No, sorry. It's about a 10-litre pot, because I put about 8 litres of water in. It's about 10 litres. Put my bones in the bottom. I add some bay leaves. I add a whole clove of garlic, whole bulb of garlic with all the cloves individually, just crushed, smashed, pretty much smashed. Take the peel off them, chuck them in. I also put into that some apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar helps to draw the minerals out of the bones, so that's why we pop that in there. And of course I use some organic, unrefined or raw apple cider vinegar. I also add to the pot, what else do I put in the pot? Oh, some onion. I usually use red onion. I'm just a red onion fan, so I use red onion, no fuss. And then I simply fill it up with 8 litres worth of water, put it on the pot, bring it to the boil. Once it gets to the boil, I'll turn it down so it simmers, and it will consequently, the liquid will reduce. And then what I do is I top it up a number of times. So I might top it up maybe 2, 3, 4 times, and I will keep it on the stove for at least 24 hours, but sometimes I'll leave it longer for 36 hours. The thing to know about your broth is the longer you boil it beyond 24 hours, the less gelatinous it will be when it cools. So when your broth cools, you want it ideally to have that gelatinous type consistency, and that is the gelatin that has come out of the bones into the broth. If you boil it longer, you'll find that you'll break the gelatin down, so it'll be a bit more liquidy. That doesn't necessarily matter. You're still going to get all the minerals out of it. It's just going to be in a more broken down form. So don't stress if it's not gelatinous. What will happen after 24, 36 hours, I turn it off and I just sit it on the stove until it gets to a temperature that I can then put it in the fridge. And then I pop it in the fridge and it will cool overnight, and the fat will rise or solidify on the top. Now, I was using the fat to cook in the past. I've since found that using fat that I get off roasts, so roast chicken, I roast up my Marylands, that fat, I don't know why, but it tends to agree with me more. So I usually discard the fat that comes off my beef broth, and I use my chicken fat instead to cook with. But you can totally use the fat on the top of your broth to cook with if you like and it agrees with you. So, don't waste, use it. The other thing you can do is actually put it into your jars or wherever you're going to store it before you put it in the fridge, and then each one is going to have its own little fat layer on the top, and you can just heat it up so that the fat immerses back in, and it's good for you. It's nourishing fat. If it's grass fed and organic, you can be confident that the fats that you're going to be consuming are going to be nourishing and nurturing for your body, and they're going to be used as good building blocks to build your body back up again as well. So they're not going to be the types of saturated fats that are going to line your arteries and clog up your heart. They're actually going to be used constructively. So go for your life with the fat on that. So with bone broth, the benefits you can expect, think about it. So you are boiling up the bones in some of the meat from animals that have been grass-fed, so they're being fed proper, what they are designed to be fed. And they're also, organic, usually pasture-raised, so they're a bit more free, happy, roaming animals. They're a lot more like we're supposed to be consuming. So when you're eating and you're boiling up those bones, you're actually getting all of the nutritional benefits that those animals have within themselves during their life. So when you boil the bones, you're extracting the minerals, which is fantastic. So we're getting some magnesium, calcium, what are the other minerals? Where have I got my list? All the minerals, magnesium, calcium, all the ones you would want. So it's fantastic for bone health. The other thing is, of course, I mentioned the collagen and the, I'm losing my words here, the gelatin and the collagen. So it's really, really good for our skin, our hair, our nails. You will notice the difference. It's very nourishing, and you'll notice a noticeable difference in your hair and skin and nails. It's very anti-inflammatory, so there's a load of amino acids that you're going to be consuming when you consume this broth. In particular, glycine, proline, arginine, all of these things are anti-inflammatory. Glycine is also calming, so it can actually help with your health and actually feeling a lot more calm within yourself. And what else haven't I mentioned? I wrote a few notes here. It'll help with joint pain and inflammation, generalized body inflammation, the chondroitin and the glucosamine. Chondroitin and glucosamine are things that we these days take in pills. So you'll notice that joint and arthritic kind of remedies and pills and formulas, they will contain chondroitin and glucosamine. So you're getting this naturally by just making up essentially some stock at home. So I love it because everything that we can, that we're encouraged to, I guess, consume in a pill format or in a medicalized format, we're getting naturally from nature, as nature intended, as life intended. So I love it for all those reasons. The only other things I were going to mention, I think I've mentioned everything. So yes, it does help to heal and seal the gut. our gut, for our optimal health, we do want our gut to be healthy, because that is where we absorb all of our vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. If there's damage in the gut, if there's holes in the gut, we are going to have what's called leaky gut. Also, what's going to happen is components that are not supposed to be absorbed through the intestinal wall and the gut wall are going to get through, and that opens us up to illness and infection, and we don't want that. So yes, bone broth can be very healing for your gut, very healing for your joints, arthritic conditions, any inflammatory conditions, your bones. So, instead of taking, I'm not suggesting that you all stop taking your supplements, particularly if you do have osteoporosis or anything like that. Personally, though, I'm a young woman. I've had a light body weight for a long, long time, so I do have low bone density. And for me, taking something that's going to help my bones in a natural format, such as bone broth, is much more appealing for me. And also, having been a runner, I don't necessarily run that much these days at all, but having had that in the past and giving my knees a hard workout for a long part of my life, obviously it's helping to restore and regenerate and reduce all of the inflammation and damage that could possibly be there. So I love that idea. So for me, number one, I always follow where I'm guided. I less and less these days. I've got loads and loads of nutrition information. I've studied nutrition for over 20 years. I studied it formally at university for 4 years. Lots of science, lots of research. I've continued every single year to do continuing professional development, which is lots of science, lots of research. However, these days, what guides my nutritional decisions and what I eat and what I do and don't eat and so on and so forth is never this. It's always this. It's where I'm guided. It's where my gut is telling me to go. It's where my curiosity guides me as well. And I just trust it. I just go, okay, yes, my curiosity is leading me over there. I'm going to give it a go. And I don't need to research it. I don't need to analyze it. What I do is I just go with it. I take it in to my body, and then I notice, how does it feel good. That's what life is, what we're all wanting in life is to feel good. So of course we can't feel good 100% of the time. That's just not humanly possible. We're going to have moments and struggles and challenges, and that's all part of the growth and being here as a human being. But in general, we want to feel good. So my latest and guiding thing for a while now has been the feel good factor. What feels good? All I know, when I drink, consume, eat this bone broth, it feels good when I'm having it. It feels good an hour later, 2 hours later, the next day. It feels good. So that's all I need to know. I don't need to worry myself with analyzing, with researching. I just trust my body and I trust where I'm guided. So I hope that's helped you. If you're got a curiosity around it, try it and see what your body says. If you're not into beef broth, you might want to try chicken. I personally haven't tried chicken. I haven't tried lamb. I'm really happy with the beef. It's working well for me. So I'm sticking with it. And there you go. I'd love to hear what you think. If you've got any questions, please send them in and I can create more and more and more of these videos. It's Bridget@newleafnutrition.com.au. If you're not following me on Facebook, please come and find me on Facebook, because I love to share my personal journey with health there, and also my clients, and to inspire whoever may stumble across my page and my musings. So it's newleafnutrition.com.au. And also, if you're not on my newsletter list, please do hop on, because then I can keep you updated and I can send you lots of yummy recipes and lots of new ideas. So that's newleafnutrition.com.au. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.